Back for Nečas. Tight turn at the Vegas blue line. He'll keep it in. Looks for Walker. Instead, he'll go across for Kotkaniemi. Now it's Walker. Drive through. They score! Net front from Robinson. Walker got it through. And Carolina, as Eric Robinson gets the deflection, puts Carolina in the lead. 4 minutes and 24 seconds into this one. Now Nečas will step with it into the Vegas zone. He'll turn, drop back, shot, hit with the save, rebound, they'll score! Jesperi Kotkaniemi with a bullet follows his shot, hammers it home. 2-0 Carolina here in Vegas.
Welcome to the Canes Corner podcast. I'm Adam Gold. Hi, everyone. We are brought to you by the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. We thank them. We thank you. And if you would like to improve the exterior of your home, maybe the energy efficiency of it, maybe the gutter helmetification of it, aluminumcompany.com. That's a good way to get right back on the bike if you think about it. Carolina really played, certainly a great start, maybe a great first 30 minutes in Colorado, and then they played 9 minutes and 34 seconds of pretty poopy hockey. Gave up all sorts of chances. The shorthanded goal changed the game, and they go on to lose it 6-4. So, the streak was going to end at some point. That's as good a place as any. I understand Colorado has been struggling. They won again tonight, by the way. But Nathan MacKinnon is one of, he was, for A, the reigning MVP. B, if you think about it, only Connor McDavid is probably a better player in terms of how he impacts the game. It's probably McDavid 1 and then MacKinnon 2 in the league. And he just went nuts. So he was completely unplayable. But you really only played 9.5 bad minutes. I don't think the third period was bad for Carolina and Colorado. They got the first goal, right? But tonight, when you know you wanted to get off to a good start, Vegas has played well, 6-1-1 in their last 8. Coming off an overtime loss, but, in Seattle. I think Seattle's a competent hockey team. You just wanted to get off to a good start. Well, mission accomplished. 2 goals in the first period. The Nečas line, the Kotkaniemi line was outstanding. Probably their best line throughout the game, but certainly in the first 30 minutes of it, they were just tremendous. And Nečas didn't figure in on the first goal, but he did on the second. Kotkaniemi and Robinson each had 2 points tonight. They each had a goal and an assist. They obviously factored in a lot. That line has been so good. Now 10 games together. So I don't know what Kotkaniemi's stats are in those 10 games, but my guess is that it's probably somewhere similar to Robinson's in terms of overall points. Heck, Kotkaniemi might be at a point a game in that. Probably not quite a point a game in that stretch, but probably close. Maybe 8 or 9 points, but that's where Robinson is, right? I think Robinson has 7 points, has 4 goals and 3 assists in the 10 games since that line has become a thing. And in these 10 games in which Martin Necas has a point in all 10, 7 goals, 14 assists, 21 points in the 10 games. He has been ridiculous. But not a multi-point game tonight. So falling off is Martin Necas. I kid, of course. But that line was freaking great tonight. And Rod Brindamore's even starting to say positive things about Jesperi Kotkaniemi and Martin Necas. It's not just saying flowery things about Nečas. Called him a power hitter tonight. Look, I talk to Rod a lot. I have used the term big bat in the middle of the order about Nečas, Svechnikov, Aho, Jarvis, and we'll get to that in a minute. But right now, Nečas is Aaron Judge. I mean, he is crushing it. But you knew that. But tonight he did some subtle things tonight. I thought he played a smart game. He gave the puck away once. I got it back, though. But I thought he played a smart game and a patient game, didn't try to force the issue. And that's probably been the best thing about Nečas so far this year, is that he hasn't tried to do too much. I mean, just his natural flowing game is almost doing too much. But he's been obviously amazing. If you're interested, FanDuel, we're going to get to FanDuel as well. FanDuel has him at plus 20,000 for the Hart Trophy. I mean, it might be worth $1, right? $1 to win 200. What do you think? $10 to win 2,000? I mean, he's probably not going to win because he'd have to almost maintain this pace to have a chance to win. But Leicester once won the Premier League. You don't have to argue with me about that. They did. All right, let's run through some things quick. It is on the East Coast rather early in the morning as we approach 1:30. That's why we got on here a little early. We're not going to be here for all that long tonight. And shouts to those of you in the middle of your day in Australia or Saudi Arabia or Japan, or wherever you are. And honestly, you're having tea if you're in Dublin right now. But a good win for Carolina because it came after the loss in Denver and how it blew up in their face in the second period. I thought Carolina was absolutely dynamite. And again, I mentioned this, in the network post-game show as well as the aftermath, that the second period, the 9.5-minute stretch, and the middle of the second period in St. Louis, those 3 goals happened in like 3 minutes, which, Carolina had a 1-0 lead and all of a sudden found themselves down 3-1. Now they got it back in the third period. They tied it, but they lost the game, right? And that was a Kochetkov game. But tonight, they were awesome. And again, if you go all the way back to the Tampa game, Carolina's played in a competitive game, because I don't consider the third period tonight a competitive period. I mean, the game was over. And, Vegas was better than Carolina, I thought, in the third period. But, it's not a playoff game. You're not running through the tape like that. Maybe you should, but they didn't. But I look at what they've done, the body of work. They've played 2 bad periods in the last 13 games. 2. That's it. The Canes are 11-3 on the season. And 11 of their last 12, and the only 2 losses, St. Louis and Colorado. All right. Let's get to the most disturbing news of the day, learning that Seth Jarvis wasn't going to play today. So, look, we have no information. They're not going to tell us if the injury is related to the shoulder or not. There have been several times, including Saturday in Denver, where Jarvis has looked like he is in some pain after a hit. Let's remember that he rehabilitated a torn labrum and a torn rotator cuff during the offseason. The choice was to avoid surgery and go about it through strengthening exercises and rest. And that is not necessarily the bad way of treating it. If you can avoid surgery, you probably should avoid surgery. But again, we don't know if it's related to the 2 injuries from last year. He played 3/4 of the season with those injuries. So if Jarvis is coming out, he's either in considerable pain or it is related to the old injuries, which would, I mean, for my money, it's concerning. I hope it doesn't mean that he's going to be out for an extended period of time. But it looked like he was one of a few players who got a little dinged up in Denver. Isn't that a movie? Who got dinged up in Denver? And let's just hope, they say it's day to day. Let's just hope that he's back in time for what's next, right? If he doesn't play in Utah, he doesn't play in Utah. Doesn't bother me. We want him to be healthy and productive, for the rest of the season. So if it means that he takes, a game off or 5 games away, then, you got to support that. The issue is, by avoiding surgery, you avoid the rehab from surgery on your shoulder, which isn't short. So at some point, he might have to have surgery. But again, we don't know if these two issues are related in any way. It could be the other arm for all we know. Or it could be a rib. It says upper body injury. So let's just hope Seth Jarvis gets back. But in the interim, Tyson Jost scored a goal. So there's that. He didn't try to score a goal. He was going to the front of the net, which should teach everybody something. Going to the front of the net matters. So it got an opportunity for Tyson Jost to play. Remember, the Hurricanes have 2 NHL players on NHL salaries at Chicago in the minor leagues. So you brought up one of them. It was Tyson Jost tonight. If you need another player, Brendan Lemieux is waiting for his recall. All right, so hopefully Jarvis won't be out very long. Let me get a couple of more things in here quickly. The first will be not the game changer, but the Jordan Staal shorthanded goal. Carolina's penalty kill, statistically speaking, does not look vintage. It looks solid. Right? We know how good it is. And it was, for the most part, great tonight. The late goal doesn't do it. Doesn't take, to me, it doesn't take the shine away. It does kind of, it's not good for the stats, but when it comes to these things, stats are for losers. How can you produce? Can you give me, if you're on the power play, can you give me a goal? If you're on the penalty kill, could you not allow a goal? Carolina's allowed some squirrely ones, like goofy, but I think for the most part, the penalty kill has been great. It just hasn't necessarily married up the statistics to all of that. But you win a draw, you win it back. Staal ends up dumping it all the way down the ice. Jordan Martinook forces the turnover, and boom, Staal's right there again. And he just absolutely crushes a slap shot past Aiden Hill. That made it 3-0. 2.5 minutes later, it was Jack Drury winning a faceoff back to Jacob Slavin. His shot, I don't know, hits Tyson Jost somewhere in the lower body, and his first goal of the season in his first official game as a member of the Hurricanes. All right. Very quickly. The influence that Martin Necas has right now on his team is so noticeable. The reality is, when you are at 2 points per game for 9 games coming in, the rest of the league notices, and they are terrified. Terrified of the way this guy can skate. Because if Nečas builds up ahead of speed, he is by you. He is that fast. He's not Nathan McKinnon or Connor McDavid fast, but the next category of fast, that's where Nečas lives. And said this about him 1,000 times. I think he's got the work ethic to make everything that he wants work in this sport. Tons of talent, and he doesn't get any, no apples on the first goal, the Robinson goal, albeit he does maintain patience with the puck, and that starts the play. Pass is deflected. Kotkaniemi gathers it, gets it to Gostisbehere up top. The rest is history, and it was just good to see. So that was the Walker goal, the Kotkaniemi goal, not the Walker goal, the Robinson goal, the Kotkaniemi goal. He also makes a very good play on. So the patience that Nečas is exhibiting is really leading to a lot of what he has been doing. And now, like, no offense to the Jesperi Kotkaniemi lobby, and I am basically on the record that I think Jack Drury is better. But right now, while Drury is playing very well, so is Kotkaniemi. Like, it's not always there for him. He's still very inconsistent. But I think the last few, for sure, and tonight, for absolute certain, he was great. He really, really was great tonight. And that line deserves a lot of credit. I don't know if Nečas thought that's where he was going to be playing. I don't know if anybody thought that it was going to be somebody like Eric Robinson with them. I like it that way. I think Robinson has been a very good player, fitting so well into what Carolina wants to do. And I think there's a bunch of guys on the team that like playing the style, and because it takes a little bit of pressure off. If you do the things correctly, I mean, opportunities to score goals are going to be there. They just are. And Ovechkin didn't get one tonight, but maybe the next time. Whoa, Ovechkin. What are we doing? Never mind. What time is it? It's about 1:37. So we're not going to be here too much longer. It's time for Sebastian Aho to get on the score sheet. I didn't hate his game tonight, but it's time for Sebastian Aho to get on the score sheet. Well, not the score sheet. He's been on the score sheet, but now 6 games without a goal. So if you're going to be down Jarvis for a short period of time, and Svechnikov is also still kind of reaching for his game, albeit he's compiling points. So he had an 8-game point streak snap tonight. And Andre had, I believe, 4 goals and 6 assists in those 8 games. So, I mean, 10 points in 8 games. It's not quite 21 points in 14 games or in 10 games that Nečas is putting up. But, I mean, he's been mildly productive, but we all know that there's more there. Same with Aho. So we went into the season thinking that Carolina was going to need their 4 big bats in the middle of the order, which is maybe why Rod Brindamore called him the home run hitter. I don't know, but he's a baseball fan. Loves NC State baseball. But to this point, Aho, Jarvis, Svechnikov haven't even hit their stride. Hurricanes are 11-3. Kochetkov was excellent tonight. Really was. And he needed to be good tonight. It's time to see more consistency from him. So he played very well in the last game of the homestand before Spencer Martin got the start in Colorado. So Kochetkov bounced back after a poor game against Philadelphia to play very well against the Penguins. Another game where he loses his shutout late on. That game was what, 5-1? Yeah, that could have been, it probably should have been 5-0. And this one should have been 5-1. Is what it is. All of that is just stats. He has won now 7 straight. And that's probably the most important thing, don't you know? So all right, let's just jump out. It's late. It's time to go to bed. I appreciate all of you hanging out. The Canes Corner podcast is brought to you by the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. If it's for the exterior of your home, you can find it at the Aluminum Company. Sammy Hanna's crew do a great job, aluminumcompany.com. We'll go a little bit deeper against Utah on Wednesday night. But top of the table in the Metropolitan Division, best point percentage in the entire Eastern Conference. Some pretty good things through 14 games of the Carolina Hurricanes season. So until Wednesday, whatever I just tried to say, I'm Adam Gold. Time to go to bed.